Well, hello, America, and welcome to the Glenn Beck program and to the Blaze. This is the network that you are building. And maybe you'll regret some of your subscription money here in a little while, or maybe you'll say, wow, I don't know. As you will see tonight, the whole of what I believe we can build together is far more than a mere network. But what we spend our time on is the network. Truth has to be restored. It has to be. But the truth is gone in almost everything now, in our entertainment, in our movies, in our schools, in our books that we read, everything. And the truth is leaving many of our lives as well. I don't know about you, but I cannot watch the news anymore. I can't do it. I thought I would come back recharged, but I'm not. I'm not. I can't talk about the stuff that's happening in Washington. I'm very well aware of it. We have people that are on it. I know what they're doing with guns. I mean, I saw that one 3 years ago. It was called insane back 3 years ago, the saying that he'll use an executive order and pull our guns. Oh yeah, no, that was dangerously insane to even accuse him of that. So I can't do it anymore. I have to move forward, and I have to have something positive. I have to be moving towards something big and positive, and something that will actually help us restore ourselves. So instead of looking at the news, I look at my family. I have thought to myself, I've got to gather my family together, and I've got to hold them tight, and I've got to help them weather the storm. That's more important to me than anything else. Gather together and help each other and give each other strength, whether we're on the other side of the planet or not. Give each other strength. Be a source of courage and inspiration. A lot of people, most people have read Atlas Shrugged. Maybe you read it, in your college days, but you should read it again if you haven't read it lately or haven't read it at all. The question in the book is, who is John Galt? That's the question that persists through most of the novel. And the answer comes towards the end. I hate to be a spoiler, but it's like 15,000 pages, so you'll forget by the time you got to the end. Galt is a creator. He's a philosopher, an inventor, somebody who refused to live under the government thumb. And he feels maximum freedom was superior to an oppressive, bureaucratic, collectivist type system. So he gathers up all the other creative leaders, the artists, the businessmen, the inventors, and everybody else, anybody that wants to come, and not necessarily in the hopes of stopping the motor of the world, although he knows that's what it is, an organized strike. He's doing it because he believes in it. And he's tired of having his ideas and everything else. He doesn't do it for other people. He doesn't do it for money. He does it because he's compelled to do it. Well, that's the way I feel in life. I'm mad about the tax increase. I mean, I've been hit hard. But I am not mad at the money. I'm mad that you're penalizing me for being creative, for being successful. Where is the place where man can be free? I call it Texas. In the book, they call it Galt's Gulch. Atlas Shrugged. It came out in 1957, but still very popular today. In fact, the movie was just made in 2011, and it resonates deeply with people today because it is the story of America today. But in a way, a lot of this of wanting to be free, wanting to chart your own course, not at the expense of others, but just leave me alone. Just let me do what I feel I need to do. If it neither picks your pocket or breaks your leg, what are you doing? Leave me alone. That's the quintessential American story from the very beginning, especially if you combine that with being compelled by a higher power, the Pilgrims. How strong was their why for them to climb on a rickety old boat, packed in like sardines? The cabin ceilings were 5 feet high. Maximum space for a single person would have been about the size of a standard single bed. That's all you had, and you're crapping in a bucket. Getting on that boat is crazy enough. But then to sail across the Atlantic Ocean with winter coming on? And the prize at the end? Oh, Indians. Disease, hunger, harsh weather, death. Well, where do I sign up for that Carnival cruise line? More than half of the 102 people who made that trip died by the end of the first winter. Why would you do that and put your kids on it? Yes. Why? It's always about the why. To be free. To worship God the way we see fit. To live our lives the way we want to live our life. Chart our own course. That is the Pilgrims, that is the American Revolution, that is Atlas Shrugged. That's my story of living in Texas. That's why I'm here. I am not going to live with a mayor who tells me what size soda I can drink. You can call what I'm going to show you tonight anything you want. You can call it crazy. You can call it Galt's Gulch. You can call it what it is. Independence. It's a place where people gather for all of the right whys. Tonight, I will show you the plans for a community and beyond, a place that, where is my prospectus from Walt Disney? Can you get that for me, Eileen? A place that I believe, if I could quote him almost exactly here, a place that I believe will be a place of inspiration, thank you, inspiration and hope and courage for the rest of the world. This is from 1953 from Walt Disney, and I don't think he did it. A place that will be based upon and dedicated to the ideals and the dreams and the hard facts that have created America. That's what this is. And it will be uniquely equipped to dramatize these dreams and facts and send them forth as a source of courage and inspiration for the rest of the world. I would break ground tomorrow if I could, but there's a tiny little hitch in this one, and it's a $2 billion hitch. And I know if you're anything like me, because I'm like me, I'd be like, aren't you the author of Common Sense? Yes, I am. That doesn't say, did you fall off the wagon? Because that doesn't sound like common sense. I know. But I also told you in Common Sense 2, when I was standing in the field, and I don't know why I'm here, and I am standing in this field in the early morning grass of Texas with a real estate agent, and I walk down over the hill so I can get her. I just say, I'm just going to look around here and see and I get past and I look behind me to see if he can see me, and I'm like, what am I doing here? And that's when I told you that I started hearing, I feel like I was downloaded all of the problems that Disney faced. And I remember thinking, in prayer, you want me to build an amusement park? Are you out of your mind? No, he doesn't. And I don't know, honestly, if this is what he wants me to do. It's such a big plan that maybe there's something in this that, I don't know. But when I feel he speaks to me, I obey. And I have spent now the last 2 years thinking and planning and then working with architects, some of them on holiday weekends and in all sorts of places and cities and everything else, trying to figure, I don't want to throw this on the floor. Eileen, can you take this back? Working on this and working fast and furious. I will tell you that I've already walked the grounds of 3 different locations in 3 different states, because I don't know where it is supposed to be. I've already talked openly with one governor and cryptically with another governor. And I believe we are at a point where I could do a deal now on this for about half of what it would cost, for about $1 billion, and we could move forward. But I'm not moving forward because I do think the economy is going to get worse, and I don't understand this yet. And also, I've got about $20 to my name after I finish all the things that I've told you about this week, and I don't want someone else to have the opportunity to be the controlling shareholder. Because if I'm right about the economy, then compromises will start to be made, and I'm sorry. There's no compromises. It's got to be built the way it's supposed to be built. What I'm about to show you is not exactly the way it's supposed to be built. We've already made changes to some of these drawings, but this is what I'm willing to show you tonight. I was in Orlando last week, and I was on the way to the airport, and I saw art. These giant steel beams that had been painted orange. And as we drove by on the way to the airport, I went, that's art. That is art. Those are steel beams painted orange. What third grader couldn't come up with that? And I started to think on the way to the plane that, 1,000 years, 2,000 years from now, they'll be sifting through our cities, and they'll be like, what was this? And whoa, look at the TV, and what were they doing with that? And you get to Orlando, and you'd see Disneyland or SeaWorld, and you'd be like, and they were transporting whales from the ocean, putting them in these tanks. I don't know why. Would they even stop, an archaeologist, would they even stop and look at those stupid orange beams and go, this must have been art. We should put this art in the museum? No. I don't think they'd have any clue as to what those were doing. I don't even think they'd think. I think they just think that looked like scraps. Remove the S on the front and the back. I think that's just rubble. That's art? What does that say about us? What does that say? Nothing. And I believe that is the microcosm of our entire society, from art to business to education to media, family, everything. It doesn't have meaning anymore. Perhaps our country was far too successful for far too long with the grand experiment. We are so successful, so comfortable, that we've been meandering, floating aimlessly through life. Our concerns are about satisfying the immediate cravings and nothing else. That's the legacy that we're going to leave for our kids. And that is the memory that we're going to leave for future generations to find. But it doesn't have to be. I want to show you what I want to leave future generations. Tonight in the American Dream Labs. Oh boy, here we go. Independence, USA. It is an entire city developed around patterns. I believe that if we're ever going to build something like this, I believe it needs to leave the message. You will have to literally wipe us off the face of the earth and wipe us off the map before you could erase the truth that is America. Everything should be embedded in its architecture. Thomas Jefferson, and I'm paraphrasing, and I don't remember where I read this, but he loved books. He said, I can't live without books. But he said, if you really want to pass on the secrets, if you really want to pass on truth, embedded in architecture. That's what I intend on doing. Let me show you. This is the main entrance. This is based on Ellis Island. It is the front gate. Everybody that would come through the front gate through Ellis Island. And the reason why we put Ellis Island there is because that's how most of us or our families came through. We came through Ellis Island. And what was that experience? That experience was giving up what you had and just the clothes in your back, the pennies in your pocket, and coming here to a place where everybody told you the streets were paved in gold. They weren't paved in gold. They weren't. They were paved in people's dreams and people's hard work. That is the gold of America. I lift my lamp beside her golden door. Give me your tired, your weak, your huddled masses yearning to be free. She's beckoning those people. They call you worthless everywhere else. Come here and show the world what you can do. That was the gold of America. To be able to pursue your dreams. And that's why you come through Ellis Island. And you walk through, and soon we'll be doing a whole show on this, maybe in the next 6 months or so, but this is the second level of this. There are no cars per se in this particular area, but you come through, and this is right here, the marketplace. The marketplace is where people, there's not going to be a gap here. There's no Ann Taylor. You want an Ann Taylor, go someplace else. This is Galt's Gulch. This is where dreamers go. This is where people work and create their own business, quintessentially American businesses. But it's more than that. It's also a place where people gather and people share ideas. You know, Ben Franklin was 9 when he started to be an apprentice. 9. I was 8 when I was working in my father's bakery. You don't have to be 9 or 8 or 12 or 15 to apprentice. But what do you say about a 16-year-old, an 18-year-old? Does everybody have to go to an Ivy League university? Or can we teach craft? Can we teach business? Can we teach things? Are there people willing to teach through apprenticeships? Are there people that are willing to work hard and start at the mailroom and work their way up just for the education? Is that possible? Because if it's not possible, then America's golden streets are dead. You know, Tesla came to this country. He had, I think, 4 cents in his pocket. He didn't have any money. You know how he earned his first $20? On the day he left the ship, he was walking down the street, he had no money. He saw somebody working and giving up on fixing a machine that was of his design. And he walked in and he said, I think I could fix that for you. He didn't ask for any money. The guy said, no, you can't. He said, yeah, no, I can. He fixed it. Took him about an hour and a half. He fixed it at the end. The guy gave him $20. That was a fortune back then. He was willing to work, and he was an immigrant right off the boat. So that's the marketplace. If you come up here, this place all the way up here is called the ranch. I personally think that we have a real problem with food. We need to be much more efficient. We need to be able to be much more self-sufficient, and it needs to be local. But there are not people that, I don't know what to do. I bought a farm. I'm afraid of the cows, man. I think the cow, seriously, I think they're plotting against me. I don't know how to grow food. Everything I try to touch when it comes to food, dead. And if it lives, it's in me belly. We have to teach how to grow food, and we have to be able to produce more than we consume. Everything in this Independence Park, if you will, we produce more than we consume. The farms, the goal would be to provide all of the food for the area, or as much of it as we possibly could. And the extra vegetables and the extra things we would ship off and sell elsewhere. The same with energy. One of the things that we're developing now on energy in the Dream Labs is for this. Because we have to be able to produce energy and be self-sufficient, and beyond that, push more energy back into the system to show the world it can be done. And by the way, I don't know about you, but my favorite vacations are not in fancy resorts. My favorite vacations are going to the mountains and just shutting off all the electronic devices, no TV, nothing, and watching the kids. After about 2 days, their imaginations start running wild, and they stop saying, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? There's nothing to do here. And all of a sudden, everybody's making, magic castles or for warriors out of some rocks, or watching, the kids be superheroes to save the planet from, the invading cows from another planet, and then seeing the cows turn on them and go, wait a minute, you're a kid. And they all come screaming back. We have to have simpler times. When we come back, I will show you the rest of independence.
American dream. The future is coming. To the American dream.
I have thought about that phrase from Martin Luther an awful lot. Tonight, introducing you to my $2 billion apple tree. All right, we get back to the let me get back to Independence. I showed you Ellis Island. You come in, here's the marketplace. There is the ranch, if you will, and over here is the media center. The media center is will do many things. This show will be taped there. Many of the shows that we do will be taped there or filmed live. But also, it is much larger than the place we currently have. This is a full movie studio, which is not part of 2013. Hopefully, by the end of 2013, we'll announce the movie plans that we are currently working on. But definitely early 2014, we will talk to you about Mercury Movies. But that will be over there, and that will develop television, scripted and live shows, news and documentaries, but also entertainment. And not, not like we're going to talk to you about. We think that a Little House on the Prairie is a little too racy for us. We want to make real movies and real television, but one that doesn't constantly assault the things that we all stand for. Common decency. Let's just go with that one. Common decency. But also there is, remember, the idea behind Independence is education and independence, entrepreneurship, and apprenticeship. When I said that we're going to find and hire our Woodward and Bernstein, I said this a couple of nights ago, or we'll grow our own. We'll grow them here. This is a place of real learning, and I'll get back to that here in a second. If you go across the lake here, and to give you some perspective, the lake is actually bigger itself than all of Disneyland. The entire Disneyland could fit inside of that lake. But if you go across, you will see something that is based on the Alamo. Most people, when they think of the Alamo, they think, oh, that was a fort where people are fighting, because of those racist white people fighting against those Hispanics. No, first of all, it wasn't a fort, it was a mission. It was a church. Ours is going to be the same thing. It's not a church, but it's a mission center, and all denominations will be able to use it, and Mercury One will be based out of there. But it is a place for people to gather, to help others, and to be able to further. If we have disaster relief, that's where the trucks would be packed. That's where all of the efforts for anything that we would do would run out of this. But it would also be a place where we could all work together. If somebody else has something going on and they need space, you can use this space. Down in the corner is a very important part, and I don't know if we have any of the detailed architecture of this, but this is the research and development, the R&D part of the complex, and it's based, the architecture is on the 1915 Panama Pacific International Exposition that happened in San Francisco. The reason why we put this here is because this complex, which some of it is still there, and it's beautiful architecture just right by the Golden Gate Bridge, it signaled the rebirth of San Francisco after it was decimated by fire and the earthquake in 1906. That's why we're using this kind of architecture down in this corner, because I think we need to send a signal not only to ourselves, but to the rest of the world that we've made it, we're going to make it, and it is the rebirth of our nation through its own principles. But this section is really a space that will constantly be changing. If you know anything about the theme parks in Disney, this would be the closest comparison to kind of Epcot, where these would be places where we'd be able to teach not the problems and everything wrong with America, but we would be able to not find the solutions, but teach the solutions, the American solutions to the problems of the day. This is where, when somebody is, fracking or coal, comes and says, hey, we're under attack. Okay, I got it. Tell me everything that you know about coal. Let's look at all of the stuff about coal, good and bad. Let's give people the choice here and show them what the real story is. But let's design this not as a classroom thing. Let's design this not even as a ride, but kind of a hybrid and an immersion kind of experience, if you will. An experience is really important in this entire theme, and we will show you at the end of the show an experience that we are developing for this summer that will be a very small version of what we are going to be showcasing in places like this. If you go up into this corner over here, this is the beginning where the Archway is. That's based on the George Washington. Here it is, the George Washington Archway. This is an actual additional working town. This is the marketplace, but this is a part of a town that is much more of the corner store for what backs up through this archway, which is a residential area. The residential area, we're looking for ways to redesign our residential areas so we can, first of all, break the class barriers. The reason why $8 million houses don't want to be next to, trailers is because it's a trailer and that's an $8 million house and they look very differently. But you can put affordable housing next to not affordable housing and have rich people and people who are still up and coming live in the same area and it all be good if you do it wisely. But the most important part of this is there are no streets in this, as I've said to you. There's no streets. In the residential area, there'd be streets behind the houses, but there are no real streets in front of the houses. Everything is underneath. But the reason why we don't put any cars in the front of the houses is because it's a park. People spend too much time in their backyard. When the kids come over, my kids will have kids over and they'll play in the backyard. When I go to friends' houses who live on a cul-de-sac, everybody in the neighborhood is playing in the street. Well, what do you say we take the concrete out of the street and replace that with grass? So now everybody is spending more time and your whole neighborhood gets together. You have barbecues and playgrounds and all of your baseball diamonds and everything in between the houses. So when you're looking out into a park. It's a way for us to interact with our neighbors, not bury ourselves inside of our hidden backyard. Now, let me go back here to come out of the residential area, and this is really the heart. The reason why this is here is because everything leads to that. Everything is centered on that. This, to me, is a representation of man reaching up to find God's knowledge, but God's knowledge always is there. It's like sunlight. This is a giant sunlight collector and emitter at night. It collects the light and it exposes underground here this whole complex. This is my baby. This is a rare manuscript library. This is my National Archives. We will keep the things and the ideas and the books and the papers that tell the truth. Nobody is going to tell me, well, that's not the truth. You don't have any. Really? Let me go to the archives and get it for you. Let me show you. Let me show you exactly what they used when they built America. But it's more than that. You see here, this is an exploded church, if you will. This is a facade of an old church, but it has no walls. It's all under glass. And this, too, collects the light, and the light comes through the bottom here and exposes here the Learning Center. David Barton and I and others are working on, look, before you send your kids to college, you come with us. And you come here and you spend a week. You have a kid that's going into college. You spend a week with us. We're going to tell them exactly. We will show them the truth. We will tell them what they're going to try to do, and we will deprogram them every summer if you care. We'll also take anybody who wins an election. I don't care if you're a mayor or you're a senator or a president. You can come here and we will show you the truth of the ideas and the ideals that created this country. This is also a place that will be a broadcast center. This will probably have a tunnel over to the media center so the journalists can come over here and see the truth too from time to time. But this is a big island, and This will also be a broadcast center, but not for regular broadcast. This will be for education. I believe that schools are a thing of the past, the way we've designed them, and we are currently working with some very, very wise people on how it can be done without the traditional schoolhouse. Maybe you have just your neighborhood working together, and we provide some of the information, or we provide the portal to the information. When we come back, there is one more side of this. It's the back side, and it's actually kind of the fun side. And I'll show you the first step in making that fun side come to life this summer. We'll do that next.
To the American dream. The future is coming.
I just have to make a quick note. Rob Petrie is the guy who helped me design all of this, and he put the windmills up in the corner just to piss me off. There's no wind power in this place. But anyway, let me go back to the back side here of the Independence Park. And this part is entertainment. From the media center, if you will, let me show you here. From the media center, which is right here, all the way over to here. This is all theme park, if you will, but the theme is important. The why is important. This is an old ghost town over here. This is Casa Verte over here. And this is the Canyon Theater. This will play a very big role. Can you show me the inside of the Canyon Theater? The idea is that you can, for instance, one of the things you could do here is go back to the other. Just leave that here. The idea here is that there are many things for you to do to experience as a family, but if you wanted to come and you wanted to have recreation, recharge, and teach your family at the same time and have fun doing it, you'd be able to do many different things, but one of them would be, let's say, Cowboys and Indians, and where 2 days you're with the Cowboys and 2 days with your Indians, and you actually get to do and experience the things, and the roundup of the cows and the cattle, and maybe play real Cowboys and Indians for a while. But every night you go through the Canyon Theater, and you get inside of this theater here. This is all enclosed. Let me show you a little picture of what it would look like when you were coming, what it would look like when you first got in. Do you have the picture of the monuments and what the sky would look like? Do you have that? No. Oh, no. Okay, leave it alone. Then this here is, of course, the backdrop, but everything here can become whatever we want it to be. This is all digitally enhanced on the other side, the skin of it, if you will. This could become Fort McHenry if we ever wanted to tell the story of the War of 1812 and the Star-Spangled Banner. That could all become this. But this is important because here, we can do, there's what it would look like in the sky on the inside. Okay, go back. That stage is where, when you're with the Cowboys sit around the campfire. And this is all very intense, digitally mapped. And they'll tell you the story of the West and how the West was won. Of course, the bad guys are the Indians. 2 days later, you're with the Indians, and you come into the same place, and now the shamans or the medicine men are telling you the story of the West, the same kinds of stories, the same battles, if you will, but a whole different story. And as he throws the stuff on the fire, the flames come up and the smoke, and now you're seeing projected into the smoke, you're seeing the medicine man's story come to life. Only at the end will you see when the Cowboys and the Indians come together, and then the full story is told. You will see that a little bit of truth is on both sides. And that's the secret of America, that when you weave that tapestry, it is not the bad things that happen or even the good things that happen. It's all about the people who tried to be better the next time, and the dreams that brought them to those places in the first place. When we come back, I'll show you the first part of this technology that is going to be done by this summer. We're going to have our first experience this summer. I'll take you into the Dream Labs in New Zealand, and I'll show you the storyboards for Man in the Moon, step one on getting us here for this summer.
The American dream.
A lot of this is just in the dreaming phase at this point, but this summer we are going to begin to showcase the technology that we are pursuing. We have been looking for technology and different ideas to make some of our storytelling dreams come true. We have studied Cirque du Soleil, we have studied Walt Disney, talked to several people, I've talked to Imagineers. Just a couple of weeks ago on an idea, we were talking to the people at Jim Henson's company. We are looking for the best and brightest minds in entertainment and technology to be able to tell stories, important stories. The one we're going to tell this summer is The Man in the Moon, an American story from the moon's perspective. I mean, I figure, we've had our feet on his face and left some of our junk up there. He might have a few things to say to us. I'll give you a little bit of a look at this. This is far different than anything that we have ever done. I have flown out to Disneyland twice this year to watch their wonderful world of color, and it's amazing. Unfortunately, I think they've wasted the technology. Give me a chance. But it's amazing the way they can tell stories. We are going to, we're not a multinational corporation here, but we're just a group of dreamers, but we're going to try to tell a story, the American story, in a way that has never been told before. And it's going to happen July 4th weekend. And, you can go and watch the fireworks, and listen to James Brown if you want that, and that's going to be good. Or you can see pyrotechnics and everything else used in a way you've never seen. And see a show that I think is going to be powerful in its message, in its facts of America, but also, let me just tell you this, I don't know what this is, but it was obviously approved. I think this is the pre-show. But basically the story is the story of man, and I'm defending man to the moon. And he's been around for a while, and he has been waiting for somebody to step up and do it right, and to do the right thing, and to be more. And he's been watching man question where his light comes from. And he's been watching man create light over and over again and destroy himself. Our first step, Man in the Moon, let me give you just a couple of things. And this one kind of really makes me mad because, even in cartoon form, in storyboard form, you have to make me fat. Paul, I won't forget you. He's on a cartoon here. To give you some perspective, this doesn't do it justice. This moon that we are currently constructing is Ben on the floor here? Is it 40 feet or 50 feet? I just know that it won't fit. Can you pull up and show this entire studio? It will not fit in this studio. We have a couple of warehouses that we are building these things in, and this won't fit. We need an enormous room to be able to project the things on it that we're doing in our tests. And we will show you some of these tests in the coming weeks. These are, I believe, 30-foot mechanical men. I could be wrong, it might be 25, but I think they're 30 feet men. This is an old drawing because their heads are actually lights, but this is an actual depiction of how big they are, and they walk through the audience. I know this doesn't sound like an American story, but when you see it, it really is. This is a representation of World War II. These are... No, I'm not going to tell you. You have to come and see it and be surprised. This, I'll show you the actual video of the test we're doing. This is what we're doing in New Zealand. Part of this, the American story, is all about inventors. Wait, don't show it yet. It's about inventors and the great inventors and the great time of invention. And Tesla and Edison were great inventors, and their arguments over electricity are legendary. And only one of them won. And let me show you how we're going to depict part of their battle. Now, this is just a test. This is in the lab here. You can see the ceiling. This is in the lab in New Zealand. Those are Tesla coils. They're actually wearing Faraday cages. But that is, I believe, 4 million volts of electricity that is being shot at each other. And when they grab onto each other, look at that. This in person is absolutely phenomenal, at least I'm told. This arrives here. They're finished everything, and I believe this arrives here later this month, so we can begin rehearsals in it. But I'm telling you, when you see this, and imagine when we want to emphasize the sparks, the spark fireworks firing off the sides of these and up into the air, and a 50-foot projected moon that is actually a physical sphere floating behind them. It is a wild, wild ride, and one that my goal is to make it so you and your children, every time, every night they look up at the moon, they remember something that they learned or something that they saw on that July 4th night. We'll give you more information on this, but this is going to be one that you don't want to forget. And by the way, I talked to the people at Mercury One. It's going to be a 2 or 3 day experience, whatever you can find time to do. But that day we'll start with service as well. We plan on redesigning the July 4th holiday to get it away from hot dogs and Born in the USA and fireworks and beer, and make it more about a celebration of the country and a charting of our course and service. Try to celebrate it a little bit more the way our founders would have served it. That's this July 4th week. That's our first step. What I've shown you this week is a lot. And we have to keep tethered to reality. And sometimes I look at this stuff and I say, are you kidding me? They are about to take guns and our world is burning down. What the hell are you doing? I don't know. I just feel compelled to do it. And I rely on God as my compass. I want to show you a smaller compass, and one that will play a role in the coming days. This is the compass for our 5 p.m. show. Next week, we will start small, but in the next 3 months, I don't think you will recognize our 5 p.m. show. Our shows are going to be based around the meaning of this compass. And whether we build independence in our heart or on land, we will seek it. Only God knows, and whatever His will is, it will be done in the end. But if we are seeking it, and we are trying to gather together in community, and we are gathering together for the right reasons, and we want to be a beacon for the rest of the world to see and to gather hope from, based on the hard facts and truths that created this country, we will be able to rest our head and know that we tried all we could. We did the best job we could. But I think in the end, we will have more than that. We will be remembered as the greatest American generation that put the ideals and the hard facts in front of themselves and gave the rest of the world courage. From Dallas, good night.